I'm live. Welcome to the Lace on Race Cafe, otherwise affectionately known as the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity. I'm Lace Watkins, your chief bottle washer and all things fall. Welcome. It is such a great thing to be able to talk to you on this wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. I think one of the things I'm most excited about is to start off this season with thanks. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to you. It's not been an easy road here at the community of Lace on Race in this last year, but for those of you who have stuck with me, wow, what a ride it has been. We have started new series. We've been doing a lot of other things in and out of online spaces, but most importantly, we have truly learned what it means to cleave and to become true community to one another. It is a time of amazing, amazing, amazing ways that we are going to further the message of Lace on Race into 2022, and beyond. And I cannot tell you how excited I am for that. So I want to say thank you. There was a post, you'll see it in the takeout window, which is what we call the Facebook page for those of you who are new, where we talk about perseverance. And someone said, I'm not sure what you mean by perseverance in relationship to Thanksgiving. And I wanted to riff on that a little bit. Perseverance, when it comes to Thanksgiving, means that I can pull a pony out of that pile of merda, but I can appreciate the perseverance of the original origin story for America, the Pilgrim myth. That it was really hard and that they failed, and then another group of them came back and they persevered with the help of Native Americans. Yes, we kind of know the rest of that story, and it's unsavory. But for now, we're going to hold on to perseverance. One of the things that I love about going into some of the archives, the oldies but goodies of Lace on Race, is that I get to see all these names and faces. It is a fun thing to be able to do, but it also leaves me pensive and a bit wistful. We know a few things about our audience. We keep you anywhere from 1 week to 6 months. It is the rare person that sticks around for a whole year. And we're going to talk about that this month and in subsequent months, because in all fairness, it's almost impossible. In fact, it is impossible to get the full measure of what we've been giving you for the last 4 years at Lace on Race in 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months. It's just plain impossible to do that. And so, because of that, we do have a way that we want you to approach the material, to approach your fellow walkers, to approach me. And it's going to take longer than a couple of days. But we also know that realistically, there is sometimes, very often, a gap between what we feel is optimal usage of the site and what people actually do. That means I have to get it into you as much as I can, as fast as I can, in as durable a way that I can, so that hopefully you'll internalize and inculcate as much as you can before you bail. That is a hard task. And one of the things I want to do is I welcome new people in and returning people, and it is good to see old familiar faces. It is wonderful. And welcome back. Welcome home. Glad you're here. Pull up a chair at the flat and round table where I am happy to be coming to you from, and let's get back on track. But I do know that people do cycle in and out. Churn is not just an issue for us at Lace on Race. It's an issue for most social justice spaces, particularly those that expect you to do more than just read and scroll. Anytime a site asks something of you, there is going to be a spectrum of how people interact with and We don't want to say obey, we don't want to say comply, but let's just say are in alignment with what the site is saying. We really do believe that what we are giving you here is cumulative, and that is both a wonderful thing, but it's also daunting because people have said, you expect so much of us. That's true. I do. For you new people and for people coming back, let me get back to some of the words that I use a lot, and I do mean a lot. I use curiosity. I use resilience, which is, by the way, very close cousin to perseverance. I use relentless reliability. This has been a year of ups and downs throughout the racial justice landscape. We had Rittenhouse a few weeks ago. We had the trial of the men who brutally murdered Ahmaud Arbery this week. And that is no doubt a win. And in fact, I'm going to be posting up links to both of those trials. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The trials themselves were very important, but they cannot take overarching primacy. It can be a strong temptation to only think about the names that the media feeds you in terms of what you should care about, so what you should be disappointed by, or what you should be elated with. We all know, every single one of us. I know it. You who are currently watching me. Oh, hi. You who are watching me know this, that those were not the only two trials that happened in 2021 that turned on the issue of race. We also know those aren't the only shootings of Black and brown people in 2021. Those are the ones the media decided you should see. Let me tell you this again. Let me make sure you hear this. It's the one that the media decided that you should see. To use an overused term, and apologies in advance, that's problematic. I've said this before, but I'll say it here again in terms of both of these trials. The most important person in a newscast or a newspaper or a web magazine are not the writers. And if it's video, not even the anchors. It's the assignment editor. It's the editor that gets to decide what gets shown, what angle it's going to take, where it gets placed in the magazine or the newscast. Is it front and center? Is it buried in page 23? If the media gets it wrong, because I know, shocked, but they do, is the retraction or the correction on page 1 or on page 23. This matters so much. One of the things that I think is crucial for critical analysis in a racial justice sphere is knowing, without question, that what you're being given by mainstream media, even and including progressive mainstream media, is but a piece of the elephant. You want to be able to look at the angles, and you want to be able to ask yourself critical questions such as, what aren't they telling you? What don't they want you to know? And that is what brings me, when it comes to Rittenhouse and Arbery and both of those trials that I'm supposed to be doing in another video, but I'll give you a taste of it now because it's on my head. The most major player, and for a long time I didn't think this, but now in the wake of some high-profile trials, I do believe this, and I would love attorneys and judges, when I do the other videos about Rittenhouse and about the Arbery trial, to weigh in on this, that one of the most important players that's often overlooked is the judge, who gets to set the parameters of how something is going to be presented, who gets to tell juries what to and what not to listen to, who can literally try to change history by saying you didn't hear that, or it's inadmissible, that didn't happen. The only people I know who do that tend to be narcissistic people. And I'm not saying the judges are narcissistic, not at all. But to be able to reset the terms, to press the reset button, and to tell people you're not allowed to consider what should be considered, or you're only allowed to consider what I consider is worth it, is worth it. It's worth a listen and worth a look, and we'll be talking about that. But for now, I want to focus on welcoming. And welcoming in this case means some housekeeping. I know that some of Sean's followers are here now, and from a few other places as well. What we did last week, almost exactly a week ago, in fact, on Monday, we re-aired all of our guidelines videos along with the guidelines themselves. We are really serious about the guidelines, and we consider it not an admonition or a rebuke, but rather as a way to fully welcome you. We want you to do well here for obvious reasons. For one thing, we want you in full alignment with and able to internalize and inculcate North Star values, which are, now that we're doing lives again, we all get to say it together. Are you ready? Lessening and mitigating the harm endured by Black and brown people, perpetuated by white people and white supremacy. I want to talk a little bit about that in another video, probably tomorrow, because the cold that I had been suffering through is coming back full force. If you couldn't notice, yes, I'm a little bit stuffed up. And eventually it's time to do cold meds. But I found out something. Vicks NyQuil and Vicks DayQuil are basically shots of alcohol. They're 10% alcohol, which means if I was keeping myself NyQuil and DayQuil'd up yesterday, which I was, that basically means I was toasted the entire Thanksgiving day. But I want to make sure that in the video where we talk a little bit more about housekeeping, and I might actually write a couple more guideline videos, but here's a sneak peek of what I would say. The first one is, I'm glad that you come here when you're excited, when something happens, either good or ill. The Arbery trial, the Rittenhouse verdict. Someone says something mean, and we have a common enemy, and everyone comes. If there is any virtue that I want to be able to give to you in the year 2022, and we're coming up hard on it, in the year 2022, it is not just relentless reliability, but being able to do this when you're not particularly activated. We talk a lot about managing our activation, managing our triggering at Lace on Race, and I hold to that. But there again, so many spectrums. High activation, low activation. When there's high activation, everybody's, what do we do next? Burnout, flame out. And then there's this low activation. Oh, there's nothing to do. There's no exciting thing that I can get behind and get galvanized by. Yeah, we need to do a whole video about this, because I think it's so important that we remember that just because your blood pressure isn't going up to the red line doesn't mean that it's not important. We have been fed a myth that unless it's something that's exciting, that it's not worth doing. This is why I think this message is so prescient in harvest time. We're going into the exciting time of Christmas, but this part of late November going into early December is kind of a latency period, kind of a gestation, waiting for the excitement of the winter holidays of Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa, and that's great. It's great to have something to look forward to. Let's switch this up. Let's pivot to race, if you don't mind. Again, overused word, are you ready? Problematic. And that is because a lot of times people will think that there's nothing to do. But there is. There's internal work that you can be doing on yourself so that you're prepared. So many times we are caught off guard by events, by current events. And that is one reason why we at Lace on Race try our best not to be all that topical, because we want to set the conditions so when topical things happen, you'll be able to manage your activation. And if you're not activated by it, that you do the work anyway. Sometime today, a black or brown person was killed at the hands of someone white. Somewhere today, or somewhere this week or this month, someone is going to be denied a job, going to be denied housing, going to be given 2 extra points on their home loan or their car loan. The everyday vestiges of racism and white supremacy that don't get your blood pressure up, but that should. I'm every bit as angry for the elementary school teacher who basically paid $15,000 more for her house than her white counterpart did. I should be angry, because if you feel as I do that racism and white supremacy are economic constructs, we can see how that plays out in real time. I want you to get as activated about that as you do with what CNN or MSNBC or, God help us, Fox News tells you to get activated by. Going back to the welcome. Yes, read all the guidelines. Read them all. Read them all. Watch all the videos. I'm adorable. Because I want you to have questions. If you have any questions, bring them down. I want to be able to go, again, faster and deeper than we have. This has been a year where a lot of it has been about treading water after what happened in February. And if people want to know what happened in February, we can talk about that. We are going to be doing very soon more Lace on Race lives, maybe Zoom lives, where we can do a Lace on Race Ask Me Anything, where the topic will be chosen by me, and then we will have questions submitted, and I will answer the questions in real time. I look forward to that. And there are more things that are down the pike. But I want to make sure that I give you a Thanksgiving welcome and a Thanksgiving thank you. I'm grateful that you're here. Look for more videos that will be coming out this week, particularly about Rittenhouse and Arbery. Look for more articles and make sure that you are commenting below, regardless of the platform that you're watching this upon. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, press that cute little bell and you'll get notifications every single time I post, which will be more and more. Now that we have amazing new digs that we got pretty dirt cheap, but amazing new digs that now house the center, I want to exploit it as much as possible. Wow. Another Thanksgiving with the beloved community, and I am thankful, thankful, thankful indeed.